Hello and welcome to Wallet Wisdom, Focus on Finances webinar series. This is session 2, Emotions and Money, with our guest presenter today, Dr. Megan Mccoy. My name is Denise Dias. I'm a financial aging home and family agent with Family and Consumer Sciences here in Johnson County. And I am your host for today's event. So this series, the course, is brought to you by K-State Research and Extension Family Resource Management Program Focus Team. All programs are open to the public. We do not discriminate against anyone or any of these protected classes. K-State University is part of the land grant system, which has a 3-part mission of education, research, and extension. K-State Research and Extension is the outreach arm of the university, and our mission provides resources and educational programming to empower residents and communities across the state. We have offices in every single county in Kansas. That's one thing we're super proud of. Some counties have gone together to form districts, and you'll see that on our map there. You can find your local office by clicking on the URL and then click on your county, and that will take you directly to information on how to contact your local county. So a couple things before we get started. We are recording this series. Names and/or appearance of persons may be captured in recordings. We also realize that financial matters are personal and important and may not be something you care to share. So any questions that you have or you want to ask, please do so in the chat feature. It'll only be seen by the host. That would be me today. So be sure that you send your questions to Denise Dias. And then I'll read those questions out loud when we get to that portion of our presentation, and we'll do that without identifying who said what. So that gives you some anonymity, please. So, all right. So today's series is Emotions and Money. This is our second of our Wallet Wisdom series. We've included dates and a list of topics we'll be covering during this 6-week series. So mark your calendars. You can join us for as many as you're able to attend or are interested in. Since the programs are being recorded, if you happen to miss a week, you can go back and catch up on them, okay? So, and we'll also be sending out PowerPoints and a link to the recording in a follow-up email after each workshop. So, also just to point out that everyone's financial situation is different. There's not a one-size-fits-all plan when it comes to money by any means, and when it comes to personal finance. This series of programs is not intended to be a substitute for personalized financial advice. So, all right. It is my honor and pleasure to present Megan Mccoy. She is one of the adjunct faculty members of Kansas State University. She teaches financial therapy, a certificate program for us. She's also had clinical experience and has been published in numerous research journals and therapy journals. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'll let Megan kind of go over that with you. But Megan, welcome, and we are so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. And I love talking about money and emotions, but I can tell you 10 years ago, I would not in my craziest dream think that someone would ask me to talk about money. I am a therapist by training. I started doing therapy back in 2006. Absolutely love it. But I did not have a great relationship with money. And so what happened is while I was helping people in my therapy, I decided to go back for a doctorate program to learn how to be a better therapist. And that's not what doctoral programs are about. They help you teach and learn about statistics and research and things like that. So I'm kind of floundering around when the second ever financial therapy conference came to my town. And I went and saw a live financial therapy session. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need this so very much. financial therapy in a way is like a massage therapist, but massaging your relationship with money. And it turned my life around, studying finances, getting healthier around my money, helping my clients have a better relationship with money, just made so many things better in my life. It just improved my overall well-being. And so really it's my like task in life, I guess, to help people have a better relationship with money. Because honestly, I was such a mess when it came to money. I took this journey and it just shocked me how much I came. And so, even if you are not as bad off as I was, I just want everybody to feel very hopeful that wherever you are financially speaking today, you can make such leaps and bounds and improve in just a short amount of time when we kind of understand where our beliefs and our values and our thoughts around money come from. So that's kind of why I'm here today. And so, just to get a little understanding of where in the spectrum from very confident to not confident you guys are with your ability to manage money or your financial confidence, could you guys quickly fill out if you're very confident about your money management skills, somewhat confident, or not at all confident? Yay, there's a good little spread. I'm so happy how many very confident individuals there are. Hopefully, this will give you more insights on maybe how to talk to your partner about money, or maybe some of the other beliefs around money that'll make you even feel stronger. Those of you guys are somewhat confident, I hope this presentation brings you all the way to that super confident level. And all of you guys who are not at all confident, you're right where I was just a few years ago. And I promise by the end of this presentation, I hope to bring you up just a tiny bit. So thanks so much for filling out that poll and giving me more insights. I just really hope that I help you guys all move up in your level of confidence. I firmly believe that so many of our money problems don't come from making enough or having too many expenses or not being good with numbers. I think they come from our emotions that sometimes negatively impact what we call our financial self-efficacy. And that's just a fancy word for financial confidence. But beyond confidence, it's this belief that when a problem arises, you'll be able to figure it out. You don't need to know how to do spreadsheet functions or all this fancy stuff with money. You just need to know that I can ask the right person. I can talk to friends and family about money. I can Google and find reputable sources to get more support. And I can reach out to my extension agent to get more advice when I need to. And that's why this presentation is going to be really looking backwards at some of your early money memories to see how that impacts your relationship with money today. So we're going to start with something called financial flashpoints. This is a term that Brad Klontz and his father Ted Klontz came up with. And they're really just early life events or series of events that are associated with money that are so emotionally powerful that they leave an imprint on us that goes way into our adulthood. And now financial flashpoints can be both good or bad. If a financial flashpoint is negative, it's sometimes referred to as a financial trauma. This isn't always the same way we think of traumas. There are these big T traumas that you're probably thinking of, things like poverty, going through hunger or food scarcity, vulnerability to crime, the big scary things that so many of us experience. But there's also these small t or little t financial traumas that probably most of us have had some experience, even secondhand, with, seeing people fight about money or seeing people stressed about money, realizing that you have less than friends or realizing you have more than loved ones, losing money. I have memories of that, wasting money, those kind of things. And these big T and little t traumas can really shape our relationship with money. So I thought if you guys were up for it, we would kind of spend a few minutes now trying to uncover our financial flashpoints. So if you guys could grab a scrap of paper and a pencil, we're going to identify our flashpoints in the hope that by identifying them, we'll be able to discover a new way of being with money, be able to use our money management skills in a different way, and feel differently when we spend or save money. So the exercise is called a money egg. For those of you guys who are in the mental health world, this is really based on the idea of a trauma egg. So you can use it for all kinds of facets of your life. I do want to note, because its origin in mental health, sometimes, you think about money, so you think about like spreadsheets and calculators, but money actually is something we project our deepest fears, insecurities, and sense of power around. So for some of you guys doing this exercise, you may have some emotions that come up. And remember that what you're drawing is something that happened in the past, that at this moment in time, you are safe, and that there's people around. If you need support, we can stay on afterwards and find connections for you. So when we move through, include even the smallest money memories that you may have felt either emotional happiness or emotional pain around. The goal of this is not to be Picasso, right? So you're going to do it really fast, right? You're going to draw an egg-shaped figure, a big oval. And then at the very bottom of the egg, you're going to start drawing memories around money, just any kind of symbol you can think of. Again, you can see this is actually a financial therapist named Rick Kaler's money egg. None of it's beautiful. A lot of the imagery is just like smiley faces or whatever. Part of the reason why the artistry is not the greatest is another component of this is that you're going to use your non-dominant hand. So if you're a righty, use your left hand. And in kind of like a honeycomb, just start drawing your earliest memories. Think back from your kid. What were some of the best memories you had around money? What were some of the sad moments? What were some of the angry moments, the shameful moments? Anything you can think about from the past to the future around money. They can be things of earning, receiving, giving, borrowing, saving, feeling financially hurt, financially controlled, financially rewarded, sense of confidence around money, incompetence around money. Take time and draw upwards. And if you're having trouble thinking about it, keep on reflecting, because I do this exercise with all these freshmen in college, and some of the traditional ones are only 18 years old. And I swear their money eggs are filled with memories, because even by the age of 18, we've had so many interactions with money. I'll give you guys just a few moments. Okay, as you continue drawing, I'm just going to describe for those of you guys who are super quick, to go back and to think about the feeling you had in each of these moments: happiness, sad, power, loss of power, emotions you can think of. And you can use your dominant hand. If you're a righty, you can use your right hand to draw your emotions in there. Once you finish that up, you can go back and put a positive sign for the money memories that were positive money memories, a negative sign next to some of the small t or big T or traumas or just the bad moments with money. Keep on reflecting and add, even if it's outside the egg, other money memories that maybe recalling good money memories brings up, or bad money memories that bring up. Then identify the top 3 positive and the top 3 negative moments in your life, and reflect on, what did these mean to you? How did you make sense of them? Just continue thinking about this. You guys will all get this PowerPoint afterwards if you want to go back and add more pictures and reflect on it. But when you finish your money egg, you kind of think of like a one-liner. Like if you summarize your money egg autobiography, what would be the moral of story? What do you take from your money memories? What message about money is strongly propelling you in your way of being around money? If you're stuck, you can use prompts like life is, people are, I am, therefore I will, money is. So take your time finishing up the money egg. When you're done, you can answer this poll and let me know when you're completed so we can move on. And answer, were you surprised by the number of financial flashpoints, the number of money memories that you experienced in your life? Yes, way more than expected. Yes, way less than I expected. It was as expected. As soon as we get a good percentage of people responding, we'll move on. All right, we got about 75% of participants. I'm gonna give just about 30 more seconds. Right, and poll, you guys should all see that 37% saw that they had way more money memories than they expected. 23 had way less. And I hope that maybe as you reflect on this in the next day or two, maybe even more come up for you. And then about 40% had a way about what was expected, whether that was good or bad. For me, when I did this money memory, I thought it was so interesting because I didn't think about money very often as an adult. I spent most of my time avoiding thinking about money. So when I finally sat down and intentionally wrote down my money memories, it was so much more than I had realized. And a lot of times, what we call money scripts will arise from these flashpoints. Money scripts are just money beliefs or like shorthand thoughts around money that we believe that often are multi-generational, meaning our parents believe similarly about money. They develop in our childhood, so we don't realize that there was another way of being around money. They're unconscious and partially true. They're really hard to change because they are partially true, and they drive our money beliefs. And what's funny about these money scripts is that when we discover that whatever money scripts we are, we just are blown away. And it makes so much sense that people other than us have a different interaction with money. And also you'll start noticing for the first time how people interact with money differently. The money beliefs that arise from these flashpoints are not good or bad. Like I said earlier, they're all partially true. They help us react to different decisions really quickly. They kind of served a purpose in our life. But if we're not aware of these unconscious beliefs around money, we may be doing some stuff unconsciously or subconsciously without realizing it. It often holds us back from having really good financial decision-making skills because instead of making decisions around money logically, we're using more the reptilian part of our brain. So by shedding light on it and realizing what it was, we'll have more power over our emotions around money. But what I think is really cool too, even if you have a really good, healthy relationship with money, by uncovering how these flashpoints led to money beliefs, we're able to communicate with our loved ones better, our values around money. We're able to explain why it's important to us to save or why it's important to us to spend in a way that our partners will be much more understanding of because it won't be hidden by all these unconscious things that we don't realize are shaping our needs around money. So there's 4 major money beliefs or based on the research by Klontz and al. And I really should recommend, Brad Klontz has 2 amazing books if you like this stuff. One's called Mind Over Money, And a more recent one is called Money Mammoth. They're both great and explain these concepts of financial flashpoints and money scripts way better and way more in detail. But anyway, I digress. The 4 money scripts, and what I think when we're describing these, I think you're right away going to know your primary money script. But I think oftentimes we have 2 money scripts, and the quieter one is more insidious and kind of hiding underneath our bigger, louder money scripts. So try to recognize the top 2. And if you're interested, I can send a survey to you and you can kind of fill it out and figure out which money script you are based on a scale that was created called the KMSIR. But anyway, I am money avoidant, so loud. Money avoidant individuals tend to either feel insecure about their ability to do money, like we feel like we just don't know how to manage our money, or that there's some kind of like magical ingredient that we're just missing around our ability to manage money. Another reason people tend to be money avoidant is morality reasons. Like I wanted to save the world when I was younger, and I thought taking money from clients was the opposite of what I was trying to do, because I was trying to make them better, and taking their money seemed counterintuitive. So I just worked for free for months at a time, which is not the greatest thing. So if you notice in yourself that maybe you feel insecure about your ability to manage money, or maybe you have some beliefs about rich people are being greedy, or thinking about money is bad, or you should spend money on others rather than yourselves, these all might be signs that you're slightly a money avoidant. And that can lead to self-sabotage around money, or doubt or unhappiness about money. I know one of the biggest symptoms of my money avoidance is I had a massive amount of student loan debts when I was younger, and I didn't even know where they were. I didn't even know how to log in and see how much money I owned because I was so stressed about it. I just wanted to be like the proverbial ostrich in the sand and not think about it. But if I had looked at it and created a plan, I could have paid it off quicker and paid less interest, things like that. Another big symptom was not accepting fees for work and working for free, which probably didn't help me pay down my student loans either. The second money script is money worship. This is the belief that money is going to make us happier. Research shows that money doesn't make us happier. What's interesting is money provides the opportunity for happiness by providing us safety, by providing us enough food, and living in a place that makes us feel safe. But after those primary needs of food and safety are really fully met, after that, it's not going to make you happy. You need all these other things in your life to be happy. But money worship, that belief that if I just had more money, I'd be happier, or that wealthy people are just somehow different than me. And so therefore, I can't ever be truly wealthy. Those kind of beliefs around money can lead to self-sabotage, belief that since I don't have the magic ingredient to be rich, it doesn't matter if I spend money. You'll see this in like someone who spends a lot on like impulsive purchases instead of working to pay down debt, because I'm never gonna be able to pay off that debt. It's so overwhelming. I might as well buy the TV that'll make me happy today. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you get rid of the belief that you're not capable of getting out of the hole, if you get rid of the belief that you're not capable of making a financial plan and moving your situation forward, then maybe you can hold off on buying that TV for a while, get rid of some of that debt, and then can buy the TV without putting on more debt in your family. What's interesting about money worship is because there's such a desire for money, even though your bank account doesn't show it, oftentimes money worship results in a lot of working and avoiding family rather than focusing on your goal. Sorry, I was just checking the chat and sounds good. Hopefully you guys all saw that comment that I'm happy to send the KMSI out, and the 2 book titles are in the chat as well. The next title or money script is money status. This is very similar to money worship, but money status really believes that your net worth is your self-worth, right? So if you're not making enough, your self-esteem suffers. If you don't have representation of making money, then people won't know you're good. So you need the right card, or you need the right purse so that other people know you're a good person, because again, money is equal to goodness in this money script's belief. Something's not the best, it's not worth buying. And research shows that money status script can lead people to believe that if they live a good life, they'll be rewarded financially. Oftentimes, you'll see purchasing and impulsive shopping related to this, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. The final money script is money vigilant. And this one is quote unquote the healthy guess, because money vigilant really see money as important. You have to work hard, you have to save hard. It's really the one that usually has the healthiest bank account. The only problem is because you're so focused on money, it can sometimes lead to anxiety. Like even though you have enough money in your bank account, you still can't sleep well. You can't believe that you have enough for retirement. You have this financial anxiety despite what your bank account says. A lot of hoarding of cash or underspending. And another thing that can happen is secrecy around money. You'll see the money vigilant accidentally be having financial infidelity with their partner because they don't want to share their thoughts around money. Should not talk to other people around money is a big script in this, and money should be saved is another big script in this money belief. And so again, all 4 of these money scripts are neither good or bad. But when you reflect on these money scripts, which one do you think is your number one script? Great. We got about half people voted. And again, Monica mentioned in the chat, we'll send out that KMSI if you want to take it and see which is your top 2. Because like I said, I know I'm money avoidant, but my second, like more insidious thing was this idea of money worship. I somehow thought wealthy people were different than me. And that impacted my behaviors as well. All right. I think we can probably end the poll. As you can see, there's many money avoidant, and I just want to take a second as another money avoidant to say how proud of you I am for coming to this kind of presentation. I was so money avoidant that going to Wallet Wisdom would have been intimidating to me to come to. So the fact that you're making this first step to get healthy around money is such a good sign that you will overcome any money avoidance scripts holding you back. So many money vigilance, which is to be expected because you guys care about being smart. You care about your finances. We just have to make sure you don't get too anxious about it and find ways to be safe. And we have money status and worship at a lower rates. Thanks so much for participating in my polls. I'm going to close this out. So I hinted at this already, but these financial flashpoints that you drew in the money egg kind of build into these money scripts that are often floating around in your family already. And sometimes if those money scripts are left unacknowledged or things go wrong, it can lead to what we call money disorders, which is a strong word, but really what they are just maladaptive patterns of financial beliefs and behaviors that can lead to distress, impairment, undue financial strain, or inappropriate use of money. There's tons of money disorders, and just because you have a money script does not necessarily mean you are going to have any of these disorders. But it's interesting to explore how they're connected and how maybe if you think about these on a spectrum, maybe you're guilty of floating up the spectrum at times of stress and ways to protect yourself to come back down. So some of the more formal money disorders, ones that have been written about a lot more and are found in our diagnostic manual that we use in mental health, are the compulsive buying disorder. This is different than impulsive buying. Impulsive is having an urge to get something without really thinking of the consequences, like the candy at the checkout aisle at the grocery store. Compulsive is a pattern of behaviors that leads to distress. Gambling, hoarding, workaholism, hopefully you guys have recognized those. We'll talk about all of them coming up. And then there's some informal diagnoses that haven't been written as much, and they're much more related to relational interactions. And we'll talk about how those relate to money scripts as well and how to protect yourself from entering into any of those. So again, compulsive buying disorder is different than impulsive buying. And what's wild is that a lot of times people equate this very gendered. You know, you have this like image in your head of the woman over shopping or hiding the packaging from their partner. But actually compulsive buying disorder is pretty closely related to both men and women. And it's much more, again, related to compulsion. So obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, depression. Think of it as a way of self-medicating. And what happens is it causes kind of like a circular causality, as we say it, where the anxiety or the depression causes purchasing, which then causes financial stress, which then makes the anxiety and depression worse, which makes more buying, which makes more financial stress. And then you don't know at some point which one came first. And so thinking about, am I using shopping as a way to self-medicate, to make myself feel better? Do I have other ways of coping? Compulsive buying is actually correlated with avoidance, worship, and status scripts. I know as me, my presentation avoidance was like, I didn't want to think about money, so I didn't want to spend money. But what you see with compulsive buying and money avoidance is periods of binging and then avoiding. You spend a lot of money and then you feel so much shame and guilt around money that you don't want to do it anymore. So you avoid for a while and then you binge and shame. And so if you feel financial shame after purchases, that's just a little sign to yourself of, let me figure out a new way of interacting with purchases. Let me figure out where these money shame feelings are coming up for me and how I can interact differently with it. I should have sent the link, but there's an amazing TED Talk. If you Google TED Talk and financial shame, there's a great TED Talk about money shame that is worth watching if you have that cycle. Money worship and money status, it's much more the wanting to have stuff to feel worthy. And there's other ways to feel worthy. Compulsive buying disorder is actually related to financial infidelity. A lot of people like to talk to me about what financial infidelity is, and I define it very broadly as any secret we keep from our partner around money. And of course, some of the little ones like, sneaking in some food or like fast food when your partner wants to be on a restricted budget necessarily isn't bad, but it's a sign of your needing more assertiveness skills or needing more power to be able to communicate. So anyway, compulsive buying disorder is related to financial infidelity because you're trying to hide it from your partner because you have this shame around it. So again, impulsive buying is just occasionally buying things you shouldn't, whereas compulsive buying is going to be that buying in secret, lying about purchases, spending more than you can afford, buying stuff to feel better, and having conflict with people in your life because of the overspending. You don't need all of them, but these are the symptoms that are related to it. Another money sort is gambling, reoccurring problem, gambling that leads to impairment. Obviously, it's okay if you're going to gamble occasionally, if you have the money set aside in your budget, that if you lose it, it's okay. But if you find it's hard to quit, if you have restless or irritability when you're not doing it, a preoccupation with it, that's the thing about all addictions, whether it is drinking or smoking or gambling or shopping, is that once you develop an addiction, our brain's reward center gets out of whack. And so everything that brought us joy before the addiction is just a little bit less fun. And so that's something that even if it's only small amount of gambling and it's not that bad yet, if you start to notice these feelings and everything's becoming less fun, it's time to stop it right away. And pathological gambling is related to money avoidance and money vigilance. Then there's compulsive hoarding. And what's fascinating to me is that hoarding can be items or money. And I think the symptomology and the reasons for compulsively hoarding items versus money is different, but there's not enough research to fully understand it. And hoarding is considered an offshoot of OCD, but there's a lot of really great neuroscience research going on right now where we're kind of thinking about maybe changing that diagnosis. When you're hoarding items, you'll find that hoarding both relieves and produces anxiety because it insulates you, which makes you feel protected. Compulsive hoarding is usually related to earlier traumas, but it also distances you from others. People aren't going to be as likely to come over or even physically be able to get close to you. Then there's workaholism, where it's more than liking to work. It's like a drive and an addiction to work. Thinking back to what I said about gambling, that work becomes the focal of your life, can have all kinds of relational consequences with children and marital estrangement, even anxiety and depression, because you cannot get your full worth from any one thing in life. It's really correlated with money avoidance and money worship as well. Okay, now we're going to get into the more informal diagnoses. These, like I said, are more relational driven. Financial dependency is when you get a lot of financial support from a partner or a parent, And then we all joke, like, it'd be so nice to have someone just financially supporting so I could sit back and do nothing. But in reality, it can cause you to feel a lack of creativity, a drive, be able to feel less self-esteem. You have less of a sense of self. So financial dependency is linked with money worship, money status, females, and wealthier families. It can also be related to less income, less education, and single. One thing to be aware of is that money is really related to domestic violence because it's one of the best, strongest tools for a perpetrator to isolate and control. And so financial dependency at its extreme can be related to that. The other side of financial dependency of the receiving is a financial enabling when you're the giver. And this is such often a thing done by love, the parent who's supporting the adult children because they love them so very much. So oftentimes, as when I worked with families like this, it was not about don't financially enable. It was, how else can you show your love? You don't need to buy your friends. You don't need to buy your family stuff. How else can you show that you love and care for them? This is possibly correlated again with money avoidance and money worship. And it's really becoming common because of the rise of housing costs, education costs, a shift in parenting expectations. We're expected to parent longer. COVID is going to make it much higher too. And so recognizing a difference between scaffolding your adult children where you're providing financial support so they can achieve something, and enabling them where you're signaling, I don't believe you're competent to do it on your own. Next is financial denial. This is really similar to money avoidant. It is not wanting to think about money. This is my worst disorder. I experienced it a lot. You don't think about money, you don't open your account, you don't look at it to reduce any sense of anxiety or shame you may be feeling. So if you notice yourself, don't feel hopeless again. I promise you, I had so many of those disorders. I had so many of those money beliefs. So you are never, ever hopeless. Even if you are one of those people that was really high on the self-confidence, if you're all of a sudden thinking about your partner or your child or your parents that may be having some of these symptoms, don't feel like they're hopeless either. We can always change our money beliefs. We can always change our pattern of behaviors around money. So I'm going to give some tangible tips that are really crafted towards each of the money scripts, but I think a lot of these can be helpful for all the money scripts. So first is money avoiders. So I did a study last year and I found that 90% of my sample had not talked to anybody in an entire year about money. And there's all kinds of methodological issues that made that number so high. But regardless, what it means is a lot of people are just avoiding money conversations. And that's a chance for us to learn from one another, to dream about goals with one another, to just create plans with other people. And it also is a sign of, if we don't do something, we're not working those muscles. And so a lot of us money avoiders need to just create rituals where we force ourselves for a while to make it a habit to check our bank accounts or check our student loan balance, something like that, or have a check-in with our partner. It has to be something in the calendar, a timer goes off and say, I'm going to do this like a workout for a while. And then hopefully after you do it for a while, it gets less and less taboo. It feels less and less uncomfortable. And you become better and better at it. And then instead of just focusing on the bad stuff, like I have so much student loans debt, those conversations around money, especially with partners, can be about, what are we going to do once we pay off the student loans? What are our goals for the future? What is the fun stuff that we get to look forward from the sacrifices we're making today? Another thing that money avoiders will benefit from, if you were like me and have some like just saving the world complexes that you think money is kind of bad or something, keep a list of ideas of how you become financially stable can make the world a better place. Maybe by becoming less financially strained, you'll be able to be better at your job. Maybe once you hit your financial goals, you can have a better donation, charitable giving schedule. Think of the ways that you providing more money to the world can be a better thing. And then keep track of your goals and reward yourself when you reach them. And you don't want to do just like one giant goal. You want to break them up so you get to have these little mini celebrations all the time, right? Like if you're like me and has like too much student loans, let's say I had 6 figures of student loans, instead of saying, I'm going to celebrate when I pay off my 6 figures of student loans, that's going to take 20 years. Don't do that. Say, I want to celebrate when I pay off 10,000, and then I want to celebrate again at 20,000. And those celebrations are going to look like blank. Make it fun. Money worshipers will benefit from understanding that, first of all, we live in a culture that worships money, that believes that if you buy this thing on the commercial, you'll feel better. And so when you're able to say, it's not my fault, but let me figure out what I really care about, what I really worship rather than money, then you can let your goals and your dream take center place instead of your money intentions. Another big thing related to this is making your goals intentional and not about a certain number amount in account. So it's not that you need to save money for retirement. You need to save money for retirement so that you can do what, right? I once had a client who kept on talking about fishing. He was like, I want to retire my fish. I want to retire my fish almost every time we met. And I finally asked him, how often do you fish? And he's like, never. I'm like, how are you planning 20 years of your life on something you don't do now? So instead of saying, I need to save to get rid of credit card debt, what you're saying is, I'm going to save so I can get rid of credit card debt so that I can buy that car, or I'm going to save for credit card debt so I can put that down payment saving into place, or I'm going to save so I can go to Europe, or I'm going to save so that I can pay for my kids' college fund. Like, they are intentional, and you can make several bank accounts. You don't have to have one big giant savings account that is no fun to put money in. You can make it your 2023 account and Honda Civic 2024 account, and name all these separate bank accounts and have these intentional saving deposits instead of spending deposits. And money worship will also, and everybody will benefit from charitable giving. We know money doesn't buy us happiness, but we know charitable giving does make us happy. Giving to others, time, money, to loved ones, or to charities, all that will make us happier. And that's another thing about money worship, is because you spend so much time working towards a goal of making your family financially sound, sometimes you actually forget to spend time with them. So making sure you have time for your loved ones. And another thing about money worship is that we sometimes believe that wealthy people are somehow different and that we'll never actually be successful because we're missing whatever wealthy people were born into. There's no magical ingredient for financial planning or financial management. It's simply spending less than you make. So you have that missing magical ingredient already. So believe in yourself, believe that you are capable. Money statusers, I made that up, will benefit from realizing that money doesn't define you, that you can be loved and worthy without being successful or without wearing the coolest outfit. That in order to be happy, you have to attend to all the pillars of your well-being. There's a great book by Rath and Harder called The 5 Pillars of Well-Being. So recognizing that you need relational health, financial health, community health, thinking about occupational health, think about all the pillars of well-being, and are you attending to all of them? Another thing that money status and even money worship will benefit from is being more intentional about spending. Before you buy an item, ask yourself, why am I buying this? How will this make me feel? Is this a Band-Aid, or does it actually contribute to my goals? I love the idea of, if you're an online shopper, waiting 24 hours to check it out, put it in the Amazon cart, but just don't check out. And then think about the details. Like, our brain does this peculiar thing when it comes to understanding the future, right? Imagine you are going to buy this outfit and it's going to make your life so much better. And you just think of for this like fake of walking into the room and having the most amazing outfit on. But if you really got to the nitty gritty of it, you'd be like, well, that shirt is so wild that I'm only gonna be able to wear it like once, and then it's gonna be like posted on social media, and it would be weird to wear it again. And do I really need another shirt like that because I have that awesome outfit I haven't worn yet? And if you start thinking about the details, purchases become less exciting. Think about a fancy car. I always like daydream about a Tesla. But at the end of the day, if I imagine the details of driving a Tesla, it won't feel that much different, the day-to-day of it, than driving any other car. And then I might have to start doing extra stuff like find a charging place, and it just becomes work rather than fun. So delay your purchases and really think, are these aligned with my values? What will it actually be like to have it? Money vigilant will benefit from finding ways to enjoy money. You know, what's so interesting is that money vigilant, there's another round of research that is about spenders versus savers. And what we know is that it's not that spenders are that much more materialistic. It's just that savers feel more pain when they purchase something. And what's fascinating is we always talk about opposites attract, but that's not true. We tend to marry someone very much like us, except for when it comes to spenders and savers. They tend to be attracted to their opposite. So you're money vigilant. You may have married someone who is opposite, and that may have led you to develop even more anxiety as you're trying to watch your own spending while also watching them. And so there needs to be more mental accounting done by money vigilant individuals where you actually put aside the money for the fun. Do the buckets. This money is for my savings so I can sleep well. This money is for my retirement so that I will be okay. And this money is for vacation, or this money is for eating out, or whatever else brings you actual joy. So every script will benefit from loosening those money scripts. And I know I'm running out of time, so I want to leave room for questions, but there's two really cool ways of thinking about how to get rid of money scripts if you have really, really strong ones. One is a money script log. For mental health professionals, it's kind of like a behavioral log where you start to just record when those money scripts are the loudest, you know, what happens right before the money script pops out for you, what is your impulse and what you do. And then you can start recognizing what are the antecedents or those triggers that lead to your money script. And you may be able to get rid of some of them in your life or think of another way of coping with them. Another one is creating a new money mantra. And one of my students 2 years ago laminated this and put this in their wallet. So every time they pulled out the credit card, they saw a glimpse of it and helped them remember a different way of interacting with purchases. But pretty much a money mantra is creating a new phrase that you can repeat over and over again to help integrate healthier money beliefs. So first you identify the situation that's causing you problems and the money script that comes to mind. And you can even use that behavioral log that I just showed. So let's say the situation is every time I want to buy something for myself, my money script's that I won't have enough if I buy it. This is a fear and guilt base. If I buy something for myself, then I'm taking away from my future self, or I'm taking away from my family. And then you can create the opposite money script. You know, I created a plan, I have a budget, I know how much I'm allowed to spend. And when I spend in that amount, I'm okay, I'm not doing anything bad, right? And so it's not just a negation of the original, oh, if I buy this, I won't have enough. It is something positive. I have a spending plan. I will be safe. And then you identify the new values that you're worth, you're deserving of things. You have faith in yourself that you're okay with money. And then you put it all together. So even though I'm scared that what I'm buying is indulgent, I have faith in myself that and my ability to create a spending plan, and I will be okay. So hopefully using the PowerPoints that you'll be sent out, you can kind of think about how to create your own money mantra, whatever your money scripts are, and find a new way of interacting with money. So any questions or anything I can help you guys with?
So at this time, we'll take any questions that you may have. This was really eye-opening for me, Megan. I just was,
Yay.
yeah, you know, I guess I never thought of money in this way before. So I can see why it can definitely be life-changing for people if they haven't thought of money in this way. So thank you for that.
Was the one who said that money is what we project our deepest fears, security, and power onto. And I just thought it was a beautiful thing he said, and so true.
Yeah, we don't have any questions yet. So if you've got a question or a comment that you want to put in the chat, we would love to hear your thoughts. I know that Monica is planning to put a link in the chat here shortly so that you can do a short evaluation. And you can either use the chat or the chat box, the chat link there, excuse me, or the QR code, whichever works better for you. So. And also next week, our presentation is on spending plans, which I think this is perfect to help us to work up to developing spending plans. Good to understand how we think about money and how our emotions play into that. And our presenter next week is Renee Reedy. And we do have a question. When you brought up compulsive spending, I immediately thought of the book Confessions of a Shopaholic by Sophia Kinsella. Are there other fictional characters you think represent examples of some of the things you discussed today?
Oh man, this is so great. Well, I put Great Gatsby on the money worship for a reason. I think Great Gatsby, the character, he wanted to be wealthy. He felt like he was different than wealthy. He thought his life was going to be okay once he was wealthy. And of course, that story is so sad and it turns out to be not true. Money vigilant at the worst extreme is the idea of Ebenezer Scrooge, but it's just the idea of being careful about money. It doesn't need to be the extreme. Um, you know, I'm thinking the Sex and the City character, but the main character and her love for buying shoes could probably be a little bit of money statuser as well. Um, those are good. That's a good question. I think I want to think about that some more. It's fun watching reality shows. A lot of times reality shows, I can't help but see all the different money scripts floating around and their conversations around money. It comes up a lot in shows.
Definitely. Thank you. Another question. Do you have any thoughts on how we can help children get launched with good relationships with money?
Oh, this is so good. Talk about money. We think that kids don't understand money or that money is some kind of taboo topic, but it's not like drugs or alcohol. It is something they see every day. And so even if you're not perfect with your money, you can kind of share with them in a very open way. I went to the store and I bought a little bit more than I wanted to today. I got to figure out a game plan on how to be better next time. And you can model how no one is perfect around money, but being open and honest about money makes it easier to do better the next day. There's some really cute books on money. I really like Matt Gardner's The Four Money Bears. One of our graduates from K-State is about to release one. Her name is Jamie Bossy. She has one. There's Berenstein Bear one that's cute about money. So I just think making money not taboo is the best thing we can do, and encouraging conversations around money.
Wonderful. Thank you. One more question. It says, when you were talking about having different savings accounts, what are your thoughts on the best way to keep track of all those?
Oh,
I seem, the second half is, I seem to have an urge to spend money when I just see it sitting there. So.
Yeah. That's what's so good. We are all guilty of mental accounting. And so I think when I had just one savings account, which I did most of my life, I did have a habit of spending it more. And I think if you go to a bank that has online, and I shouldn't say just bank, a bank or a credit union that has online banking, and then you create those account names in different savings account that don't have a minimum balance requirement, and name it something visceral, right? Name it like, not like, vacation savings account. Name it Italy 2022 with the name of it that viscerally will make you visualize what you're saving for. And then it'll be way harder to steal money from there for, I don't know, a bad burger at McDonald's. You'll be like, no, let me have it in there so I can have that Chianti in Firenze or whatever you want to do. But make sure it's all where you can see it visually, where all your accounts are on your mobile app, so it's not hard for you to find it. You don't want money floating around that you don't remember, for sure.
Okay. So another question has come in. If one is interested in financial therapy, how would someone go about finding someone that they can visit with about this?
Yeah. So luckily with COVID, there's so many less restrictions on seeing therapists across state. So my first a piece of advice would go to find the financial therapist locator on the financial therapy website. And that is financialtherapyassociation.org. And then you just use the menu to find a financial therapist. They have great webinars as well. I volunteer there in True Transparency. And that's a great way to find a financial therapist near you. mental health professionals, we tend to be money avoidant, but talking to a mental health professional and explaining your thoughts and getting them to do the work with you can always be helpful too, because it's really not the money, it's the beliefs around money. And that I think many people can help with.
Yeah, Monica posted the Financial Therapy Association.org website in the chat, and I'll be sure and make sure that she sends that out in her follow-up email. So,
and one other thing about, the last question about the different savings account, something I didn't know is that you can get your paycheck to automatically deposit to different accounts. You can have like 10% automatically deposit to one account that's for your trip, and another percentage to your car savings account, so that it's automated saving without you even thinking about it. And if you can go one step farther and start something like a Roth IRA for really long financial goals, that's even better. But hopefully one of the other weeks will cover some of those saving vehicle conversations.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Great information. So any last minute questions from anyone? I'm not seeing anything popping up. So,
well, they can.
Megan, thank you so very, very much. As you can see, Dr. McCoy's address is there. If you want to send her a question or ask her, or need some help, she's easy to get a hold of, and I'm sure she'd be willing to answer any other questions that we didn't address today with you personally. So, Dr. McCoy, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful, wonderful presentation. So I appreciate it. Thank you.